Around 1,600 Australians are diagnosed with brain cancer every year. Survival rates have not changed in decades, and only 2 in every 10 people diagnosed will survive longer than 5 years.
To try to accelerate brain cancer research and treatments, a virtual biobank has been established. And to tell us more about it, we're talking now with Robyn, Leonard, founder and director of Brain Cancer Biobanking Australia, and Professor Michael Besser, chair of the BCBA and the former head of neuro-oncology at Sydney's RPA Hospital. Good morning to you both. Welcome to the program. Thank you so much for speaking to us about this issue, because it is one that has seen no real significant advances in treatment, and the rates of survival are incredibly poor. So, Professor Besser, just explain to us what this idea is around the initiative of biobanking and how that might help.
Yeah, well, firstly, I'm a neurosurgeon, not a neuro-oncologist, but brain cancer is a particularly aggressive tumour, very resistant to treatments. And one of the basic tenets of modern research is to look at the tumour cell and get the DNA footprint, because even within the same tumour, these are different. And it's going to be the basis of individualised treatments in the future. So we need to have adequate tissue for research, and we need to have the data that goes along with that. And that's what we've established, an Australia-wide organisation, so that there's enough tissue and material for basic research into brain cancer.
And we spoke at the top there at 1,600 Australians with brain cancer every year are diagnosed. Robyn, can you tell us your story with your daughter? And Lucy, she died from brain cancer about 5 years ago. Just give us an idea of what she went through and the treatments perhaps that were available to her.
Yes, well, Lucy was diagnosed at 27, and she was diagnosed with a high-grade glioma, it's called. So it wasn't the most high grade, grade 4. So she lived for 7 years, but in that time she had 4 operations. She had extensive radiotherapy and chemotherapy. We went to the US for a DC Vax trial. So we tried everything, but there's nothing to stop a grade 3 glioma becoming a grade 4. You know, the writing's on the wall. There are no treatments. It's just a matter of time. And if you live in hope, you always think, we're going to be the ones who are going to beat this. There are survivors, but 1% or something like that. So so it's just
And your experience prompted you to then want to found this particular initiative, because you found that there wasn't enough research and information to work with.
Yes, well, there was. I got involved with the clinical trials and as a consumer representative, and so came to understand the need, and then also realised that, as Michael was saying, that there is a great need for the tissue, and so it being separated all around the country into individual little collections, I just thought, none of those individual collections will ever have enough tissue to be able to power the research that is going on today. So we've drawn them all together in a network, and we have a register of all the tissue that's available for researchers and a centralised access point, so researchers anywhere in the world can see what we've got, how much we've got, and apply for it.
Professor, I'll ask you to explain the importance of that register in just a moment, but before we get to that, why are the survival rates for brain cancer so poor?
Well, that's a very good question. One of the reasons is that there's a thing called the blood-brain barrier that chemotherapeutic agents have difficulty crossing. And the other reason is that these tumour cells, they're parts of your own brain. And one of the features that is a problem is our immune system recognising that these cells are foreign. And I think that's what we can establish with modern research into genomics. So genomic research is the future, really, of most cancer therapy, including brain cancer.
So in establishing these biobanks, what's the key as far as research is concerned? What opportunities will be opened?
Well, Australia will be the only country virtually in the world that coordinates all the tissue around the country. So when a neurosurgeon gets tissue from a tumour, it'll go into a biobank, and brain tumours are relatively rare, even though they kill more people under 40 than any other cancer. They're still relatively uncommon, and for a basic research scientist to have enough tissue to be able to look at the genomics, look at the DNA, and then translate that into what makes this particular cell so resistant and what chemotherapeutic agents are going to be effective against it. That's the challenge, and we're going to be able to give them the tissue they need.
So, Robyn, what's been the response so far to this particular initiative, and how is that donation process actually carried out?
The response from the brain cancer community of scientists and clinicians and biobankers has been amazing. They all understand that we need to collaborate across Australia in a rare cancer, as Michael said, to get the numbers, the amount of tissue. So, yeah, we've had amazing collaboration. Everyone's agreed to come together. We all work together on working out what data needs to be collected with that tissue. Everyone is in agreement with our application processes, and we couldn't ask for more, really. Yeah.
And it is about raising awareness and also raising money, of course, and there are different ways of doing that, and I know a lot of men and women have jumped on their bike to try and do that.
Yes, yeah, well, again, friends of Lucy's they remained constant during her illness, and they've remained constant to what I've been doing, and they came up with this idea of having a bike ride, and so it's the bike ride for brain cancer, and it'll take off from Barker College, and because Michael is an Ironman silver medalist, so he's right behind it, and we're going to go from Barker, which is Lucy's old school, up to the Hunter, 250 kilometres over 2 days on the 9th of March. So
culminating on what would have been Lucy's 40th birthday on the 10th.
That's right, yeah, and we thought that was particularly sort of poignant, seeing that brain cancer kills more people under 40 than any other cancer. Yeah, so it's evidence, yeah. So we're looking forward to the event.
Yes, we're hoping everybody will get on the BCBA Bike Ride for Cancer website, and even if they can't ride, they can donate money. We're all self-funded. It's very difficult to get grants for infrastructure for brain cancer research, so we do need the funding. And if you want to come along and join the ride, get on your bike. It'll cost you a little bit of money. You'll need to raise some funds, or you can just donate.
It's definitely a worthwhile initiative. I just wanted to ask
Andrew
as well.
Looks like a bike rider.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I know it's probably best I don't jump on the bike, so I'll leave that to the experts. But I did also want to ask, because I note that there's also been the announcement back in October with the government putting forward $100 million for a new Australian brain cancer mission with a focus on clinical trials. Is that an encouraging sign, do you feel, Robyn, in terms of rejuvenating a focus on brain cancer research?
It's amazing, yeah. I mean, we've been, as Michael said, existing on small charitable donations. There has not been any money for infrastructure, which is what we are, research infrastructure. We were providing resources to researchers. We're not a project. And so we haven't had the opportunity to apply for funds. And now with this, we feel that there will be an opportunity that we will get funding, and we're very grateful for the attention.
And on that note, Professor, is it perhaps fair to say that funding has not been forthcoming because the outcomes have been so poor?
Well, I think they haven't been forthcoming because I guess brain cancer is not sexy like breast cancer is, and because it's relatively small in terms of people who get cancer, but it's the biggest killer of young people with cancer. And not only is it a cancer, I mean, if you have breast or prostate, you can still function, you still have your mind. But with brain cancer, it destroys the very soul of what you are as a human being.
And the onset seems to be so quick as well.
Well, people can present with an epileptic fit. They can present with increased pressure. So, yeah, it can be quick or it can be prolonged and often misdiagnosed as other diseases.
Is there hope that potentially we could see a similar process through this as we have seen with leukemia treatment? Because up until quite recently, survival rates for leukemia were quite poor. So is there a hope that perhaps we might see a similar input producing those sorts of results here for brain cancer?
Well, that's our hope.
We hope we can stimulate our own immune system. One of the projects that we're trying to develop is donation of people with brain tumours when they pass away, because then we can get the cells virtually when they're still alive, and we can work out why is this particular cell been resistant to the treatment this patient's been on. We can grow the cells, we can try different agents into these cells, so that's our hope.
Yes. Yeah.
Robyn, Leonard and Professor Michael Besser, thanks so much for coming in and telling us about it.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
having
us.
Thank you.